Good morning, beautifuls. Oh my gosh, y'all, it's almost 1 o'clock. It is Friday, March 7th, day 7 of the month of Ramadan. The lecture is about to come on. It's about to come on in minutes. So I have my setup. I'm about to sew while I'm listening to the khutbah. So I'm going to try to add some clips in and just explain what I'm doing because I can't talk while the lecture is on. So I hope I can make it as understandable as possible for y'all. Yeah, that's what we about to do. We about to sew a garment. And I know I told y'all that I was going to go live and sew, and I still am going to do that, inshallah. It's just that I really wanted to get this one piece out the way, and I can't go live while the lecture is on. So I'm going to just do the whole thing right now, inshallah. So y'all, for the first part of the video, I'm going to be doing a voiceover. It's not going to be like this the full video. The lecture is on as I explained. So I just want to go into detail and talk to you guys about what I'm getting ready to do. So you always want to make sure you know which way your fabric is stretching, because it's very important when you pull your overgarment over your head. You want to make sure that you're sewing the way the fabric stretch. So this is the way that I need to fold my garment so that when I put my garment on, I can fit it. If I don't do it this way, it may be too small. Also, when you lay your fabric flat down on the floor, you want to make sure that the bottom of your fabric doesn't have any creases. And as you can see, I didn't fold my fabric all the way in half, and I'll explain this to you. The reason for that is because this bottom that you see is going to be for my headpiece. So if you're a beginner sewer, I repeat, if you are a beginner sewer, I would recommend that you buy a separate amount of yards for your dress and a separate amount of yards for your khimar. So most people can use 4 yards for their dress. I use 3 because I'm only 5 feet. So if you're taller, I would say get 4 yards for your dress and 1 yard for your head covering or khimar, shayla, whatever you want to make. Once I do that, I find a garment that I like and I lay it over top of it, and this is what I'm using as a pattern. So I'm laying my garment that I like over top of my fabric and I'm using it as a pattern, and I'm making sure that if you see at the very bottom, it's not too much fabric left down, because I don't want to waste fabric, but I also want to have enough to hem my garment. So I'm just laying my garment on top of my fabric. When you cut your fabric, do not cut the fabric the exact size of the garment. The reason is you want to have seam allowance. And I'm going to explain this later in the video. You may understand it a little better once I explain it later. But never cut the fabric the exact size of your garment. You want to leave at least like an inch for seam allowance, but because I want my garment to be bigger, you see I'm leaving a whole bunch. I'm making it way wider. I still want it to be a caftan, but I want my caftan to be much bigger than the caftan pattern that I have, so I'm making it bigger. But if you have a garment and you like how that garment fits you, keep it that size, but allow an inch or 2 on each side for seam allowance. So what you see here is how my fabric looks after I've cut it. Now, if you're a beginner, I suggest getting these yellow stick pins. I don't use them as much as I used to when I first started sewing, because I can handle the fabric a little better. I can maneuver through the fabric a little bit better. But if this is your first time sewing or you're a beginner, use the pins to hold your fabric in place. So what I'm doing now is I'm going down my garment. This is just a rectangular garment, right? I'm leaving about 8 inches up top so that my arms could fit through. Like, I want to leave some sleeve room out. But if you are sewing in a line, you can make a garment with your sleeves already attached, and that's what I do suggest for beginner sewers, not to do sleeves, because doing sleeves are really tricky, and I'm going to explain that later as well. So it's very important to have a color of thread that will match your garment, or at least looks nice up against it. A lot of people, they always use like black thread, and
you can have a pink garment. I don't like that. I try to get colors to match it. So what you want to do is you want to thread your bobbin, and I'm going to explain this process to you. So your sewing machine will come with numbers and directions on how you're supposed to thread the bobbin and how you're supposed to thread the needle. Right now, this is the bobbin. So you want to put the bobbin on the top of your machine, right there in that section. And you want to step on the sewing machine foot, and you just want to thread your bobbin. That's what I'm about to do right now. So once you thread your bobbin, your machine will have a place for you to put your bobbin, and you just follow the instructions. My thread goes through this little loop. Make sure you put the plastic thing back on top of it, and you're ready to thread your needle now. Like I said, is instructions on how you thread your needle. All you're doing is following the numbers. It's just numbers up top, and you just follow those numbers. Y'all, when I don't have my glasses on, I can never get the thread and the needle. It burns me out. I just had to face the fact that I'm an old woman and I be needing my glasses for everything, y'all. So I got it in on the first try. Alhamdulillah. So once we have our fabric all cut out, the pins are in to hold everything in place. Now we're about to take our fabric to the machine. This fabric is a stretchy fabric, so I'm going to use a zigzag stitch. When you put your pins on your fabric, you want to give yourself a little bit seam allowance too, so that when you put it directly on the machine, you already know that what I just showed you is my arm section where I put my arms through. I don't know, I guess sleeves. Whatever, y'all. I don't know. I'm doing the best I can. Bear with me. So I'm about to take this garment to the machine, and I'm going to do a zigzag stitch. This is what you see right here. I could have made the stitch a little tighter, which I'm going to do later on in the video. But to give myself an extra protection, I always fold my fabric over and do a straight stitch. This makes me never have any type of holes or anything in my garment. It's like, okay, you going to do layers, like you doing layers. You can sew with just a zigzag stitch and your garment shouldn't fall apart, but like I said, I always do that extra straight stitch on my garments just for the extra little, you know, sometimes you bust out of them like Incredible Hulk. You might gain a little bit of weight, whatever. And also too, y'all, I don't put my garments in the dryer either. I always hang them dry.
So the lecture just went off, so now I can explain to y'all a little bit without doing a voiceover, because sometimes that can be like a little bit extra work for me. So I turned my garment on the side that it's supposed to be on, the side, you know, like if you were wearing the garment, not inside out. So here we have where my sleeves will go, where my arms will go, and that's on these sides. So what I like to do is I like to fold the garment equally in half, like so, so that when I cut the neck piece out, it'll be even on both sides, if that makes sense to you. So Normally, like, I always have a garment to place on top of this. What is my camera doing? To place on top of this so that I can cut the neck part out, and that's what I'm going to do right now. So I have a garment here that has a neck piece. So I'll put this here to make a hole for my neck. So when you cut in your neck, don't make it go down too low. Start off smaller so that because once you cut too much off, then you got chest out, all that stuff, it's going to be hard to fix that. So start with a smaller hole, and then if you need to make the hole bigger, do it like that. So my garment is folded in half, and I'm going to mimic this neck here. This was all the fabric that I cut off for my neck piece. So I'm going to take her over to the mannequin because I have my girl right here. Can you guys see me? Is it too dark in here? Let me see. Wait a minute, y'all. Okay, that's better. Is that better? Child, this camera. So I'm gonna put her on the mannequin real quick, just to see what she's giving. See what she's giving. Right? Okay. She's giving caftan. She's definitely giving caftan. She's giving what she's supposed to give. Alright? So let me show y'all. This is exactly how I want the garment to be. I want it to be wide, right? I want her to be wide. So now we have to add sleeves to her. And I'm thinking about doing some sleeves, something like this. Something cute. So this is where you guys have to pay attention. Okay, so we need to cut sleeves. We need to cut sleeves. Now, y'all know, I don't use measurements that much, right? But for my arm length, I may use like a measurement or whatever. So I would need about 21 inches to fill my entire arm, right? 21 inches to fill my entire arm. I have all of this for sleeves. What I would tell you guys is that I can put the fabric together and cut both of my sleeves out at the same time. I don't know if y'all want to do that. So just like how I explained with the fabric, you want to go the way of the stretch, because when you put your garment on, you don't want your sleeves to not move. You know, you want to be able to make wudu in your sleeves and everything like that. So this is not stretchy. It has a little stretch in it, but it's not enough. This is the way of the stretch. See that? So I want to fold my fabric this way so that when I put my arms in here, it'll stretch and I can like move my arms inside of it. I can lift my sleeve up to offer wudu and everything. So that's what you want to do. You want to fold your fabric like this, right? Another tip. You want to measure your underarm where you cut it at to make sure that the top of your sleeve is the same size as your underarm. Y'all know this. Y'all know this, right? So this is what we're going to do. So we're going to look at our sleeves. Right here. This is our sleeves. And they're about 9 inches long. Y'all already know I got them broad shoulders. I tell y'all all the time. So the top of your sleeve, you want to make sure that you're starting your cut at about 9 inches. 9 inches. I'm going to put a pin here because I don't have my marker. So I'll put a pin here. Okay? I got my pin there. And now I'm going to show you guys how I cut my sleeve. So as you can see, my model that I'm using for my sleeve work, this is where I'm going to start to cut it. This is smaller. This garment is a lot tighter. And you guys know we're trying not to do that. So I'm giving it a little bit more room, right? You also want to always allow seam allowance. Seam allowance is extra on this side because you don't want to sew exactly where your seam is. You want to have at least like a ½ inch for seam allowance. So we're going to cut this up, and I'm thinking maybe I can do a, what do you call it? Maybe I can leave these sleeves wide and do an elastic wrist. I think that would be cute. Wide sleeve, elastic wrist. We'll see how it turns out though. So now that you have your first sleeve cut out, you want to just put the fabric over top of this piece, like so, and make them identical. Make them identical. And cut out your second piece. So y'all, because I'm kind of a pro, I'm not gonna put the what's these pins on here, but I do recommend, like I said earlier, to pin your garment along the stitch of it, because it just makes the fabric stay where it needs to stay and it doesn't move. But ouch, I've been doing this for so long that I don't need to do that. So I'm just going to put it straight to the machine. Who's at my door? So I'm starting off with a zigzag stitch, and then I'll go and fold for a I'll go and fold with a straight stitch for more protection. So your machine will tell you what a zigzag stitch is. What's up, babe? You alright? Yeah. Oh, okay. Your machine will tell you what a zigzag stitch is. Mine is number 3, but it's written. I'll show you. It's written here. A little sewing tutorial. A little sewing tutorial. Nothing. Yeah, Sean was gonna get Jenna, but I told him, I said not tonight. Y'all see that handsome, fine specimen back there? You like this color, babe?
Yeah, when you get that?
I've been had this. No, I've been had the fabric.
What you doing, the overhead?
No, I'm doing the overgarment. But I'm making it like a caftan. You don't know that. You'll see it when I put it on.
Oh,
So the first stitch is done, and then I'll just go back in and fold it over like this and do a straight stitch just for the extra protection, inshallah. Let me show y'all. I should have had it this way. Someone's calling me and I'm not gonna answer. I'm not gonna answer the phone because I don't want to talk. And we're gonna switch it to a straight stitch, which is the number 2 on my machine. You wanna go up. You wanna hit this button to do a back stitch to keep your thread locked. Oh, let me put this here. Let me try to get it to where you guys can see. And then this one is so. So normally I would have a serger, and a serger gives your garments that like finished look. My serger does what it wants to do, so I don't have time for that. I really don't have time for that serger. So this is the second sleeve, and you just always want to make sure you match everything up. Like I said, if you had the pins, it would be a lot easier, but I don't have the pins on mine, so I'm just making sure I match everything up. First stitch, zigzag. First stitch, zigzag. And then the second one, we'll do the straight stitch. I'm sorry, I keep forgetting to turn it back to the machine, you guys. I'm so sorry. So the second one, we'll do a straight stitch. And this is why I told you make sure you have seam allowance. That's just so that when you sew, you still have some fabric left over, extra fabric. Let's do our straight stitch. So you can see we have our sleeves done. They are looking good. They are looking beautiful. One of the hardest things to describe to someone is how to put sleeves on. I'm gonna try my best, y'all. I'm gonna try my best. Okay, so you know that the bigger part of the sleeve goes up top. This is your wrist, right? Oh my gosh. So I told you guys, where you at? Let's see. Okay. So remember when I told you the measurement of your sleeve is important because they should match up? So this here, you know how a sleeve looks when you put it on, right? So it would be like this. This should match up to that. And it does. It matches up perfectly, okay? But here's where things get a little tricky. The way I put my sleeves on to make it easy, I turn my garment inside out, and then I stick my sleeve inside. And I'm going to show you why. So here I have my garment. It's turned inside out. It's on the wrong side. I cannot wear this outside like this. It's backwards, right? I'm going to keep my sleeve on the right side. You see, the seams are good. I could wear this outside. I could wear the sleeve outside. Sleeve stay on the right side. Garment on the wrong side. So, you know that the bigger part of your sleeve has to touch the bigger part where your underarm goes, right? So this has to attach to this. So what I want to do is I want to always watch out for the seam. I'm going to stick this inside of this arm wrist first, right? I'm sticking that in there wrist first. I'm going to match my seam up to this seam, and I'm going to put a pin on it, and I'll show you why. So I'm putting a pin on here. I'm going to match the seams up and put a pin on there. Okay, just like so. All right, so now I have my sleeve inside, right? Let me show you. The sleeve is inside of here. So as a beginner, let me try to keep it on here. So as a beginner, I would recommend to pin the sleeve all the way around. See, just pin it to each other all the way around so that you won't get confused. But it's just like a circle. It's like, it's just like a puzzle you're putting together. This is the circle for your arm, and you attaching it. Right? You attaching that. And the pins, make sure everything aligns beautifully. Right? I'm trying to tell y'all, I normally don't use pins like this no more. I use them, but like not all the time. This is giving me extra work, but because it's for you guys and I love you, I'm gonna do it. Okay, so I'll do one more pin. Okay, so I have one more pin, right? One more pin. So now my garment looks like if something was inside out, and I have my sleeve that I'm going to sew around in a circle. Let's go do that. So an easy way to sew around in a circle, you can put your garment through here like this. See, you can put it through there. Pay attention to your seams. You want your seams to line up. So I have a seam here and I have a seam here, and it's pinned. And I think I'm going to start at the seam because I don't want my seams to move. So I'm going to start at the seam. I'm going to sew. Sewing at the seam. And then I'll just go around. I should have been doing my zigzag stitch, but I didn't. I'll do the zigzag stitch after. I love two forms of protection. Once you get back to the seam, you know that you're done sewing your sleeve. I'm almost there, and it should match up perfectly. Don't forget to back stitch. So now we have the sleeve sewn on, and see, this is our sleeve. It's our sleeve. I'm gonna put the other one on real quick. So y'all, now we are about to hem the garment. The garment is still on the right side. And when I say the right side, I mean in a way that you can wear it outside. So I'm leaving it like that, right? Then you want to just go in and fold the garment under twice so that you can hem it, okay? So your garment is on the side you would wear it outside, and you want to go in and fold the bottom of the garment under twice. So you would just go all the way around. Let me see if I can try to get it on here. Go all the way around until you get back. What happened? If this happens, don't worry and don't pull your fabric, okay? The thread is jammed here. So what I like to do is I come in and I try to just get my bobbin up instead of pulling my fabric. So the thread has got tangled up in here. You can see that thread just got tangled. So instead of pulling the garment, you want to just get that thread up. And I like to cut it. And you see, came right up. The needle is still good. And then I'll just cut these pieces off of my garment, because I'm pretty sure you will run into these problems, which is why I'm leaving this part in, okay? So now we just want to put our bobbin back on. Put our bobbin back on. Now the reason why that could have probably happened is because the thread, the fabric is a little thick right there, because I started where the seam was. But I'm just going to move to a different part. So she's smooth sailing, you guys. The perfect stitch is coming out. You want to make sure that your fabric is folded under so that the inside of your garment looks good. So while you're moving your fabric, you should be remembering to fold this part.
We're almost done. So the next thing you want to make sure that you hem is your sleeves. Yep, you want to hem your sleeves. You want your garment to look good on the inside and out, inshallah. Oops, I missed it. And I'm going to go around here with the second stitch. Swoody just went and sat on a box that came from Amazon. This is the second sleeve. Want to do a second stitch. And then the last part we gotta do is we have to hem the neck, and then we'll make our khimar. And I told you guys that I wanted to draw the sleeves in like this, but I didn't make it elastic. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna make a little makeshift wristband to come over my garment to draw it in a little bit on the sleeve part. I'll show you guys that too. So this is the wristband that I made, and I'm just going to put it on my garment to draw it in, if that makes sense. I'll show you guys later, inshallah. So you're going to
put your pen. This is this right here. Put your pen right there. This is what goes over your head. And that's the most important part about your overhead khimar, because you want to make sure that it fits your face good. It's not too tight. Can't breathe when you put it on. So I'm just going to sew this down real quick. And this is the final part of our garment. So I'm going to check back in with y'all. So this is her, you guys. I'm so happy with how it turned out. This is the part that goes on my head. The stitching is beautiful. Yeah, I'm so happy with her. She's beautiful. I love the color. And I know it's going to fit so good. So I hope you guys enjoyed, Tootie. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that you were able to understand my tutorial. And if you didn't understand it, you could always feel free to ask me questions. Stop it. Stop scratching that rug. I am going to attempt to go live and do some sewing. I wasn't able to do it right now. You guys, listen to me. Hubby and I are getting ready to go to Kaaba, inshallah. It's almost time for my grib. When I tell you, do not underestimate the strain that fasting puts on your body, and don't let anyone make you feel bad because it's kind of a strain. You know, we do aim to keep ourselves busy and occupy our time so that we're not just sitting around thinking about being hungry or thirsty. But please remember, the Sahabas used to prepare months in advance before the month of Ramadan. So your fatigue and all of your thirstiness and everything that you feel is very much normal. Don't let anyone make you feel like it's not normal. I can't. You see, I'm out of breath. Like the whole day I've been filming, I'm like, I hope they don't hear that. But if you do hear that, I'm tired, I'm thirsty, and I'm busy. So I'll catch you guys on the next vlog. As always, thank you for watching. I love you guys. Bye.